We won 9 leagues so far in the Ultimate Glory Hunter Challenge. The most recent addition is the Hungarian League with Ferencváros, including a Europa League final. Which country will be the 10th in our journey? On the day of my resignation from Ferencváros, the most interesting offers were from Slovan Bratislava in Slovakia, AIK Solna in Sweden, and FC Zurich in Switzerland. There were also a bunch of decent other clubs available, which you can see right now in the list. But my eyes were set in only one direction. In real life, Slovan Bratislava is Slovak football's powerhouse, consistently winning the league title. They also wrote history in the Champions League last year, advancing to the league stage for the first time, after beating Midtjylland from Denmark in dramatic fashion. Let's just ignore the fact they got 0 points. However, in this save, Slovan has fallen from grace, becoming a mid-table team, even dropping down to the second tier in the 30s, and only recently qualifying to Europe a couple of times. Though my favorite club in Slovakia is MŠK Žilina, which has done quite well in this save, getting a couple titles on the way, I found it a great chance to rebuild a fallen giant. So I applied, went for an interview, and accepted the offer. Of course, both Dinamo and Hajduk offers in Croatia had to appear right after I joined. We joined the club that famously lifted a European trophy, but that was 75 years ago, when Slovan won the Cup Winners' Cup against Barcelona in 1969. Our new team has a bunch of talented young players, with the age not being a huge problem here. But there is one other problem, and that is the club's finances. We're nearly 2 million euros in debt, and that means little to no transfer budget. This isn't much money to play with, so we have to base our squad on local youth. And luckily for us, there's quite a lot of them in the B team, with many of the players having 5-star potential. So let's build our team. The formation I went with is a 5-2-2-1, with 2 attacking midfielders behind a striker. However, Sekou Karamoko, who's playing up front, is not our biggest star. We've got a couple more of them. Gabriel Cusero and Raul Choquet, both attacking midfielders, František Todt, who we will turn into a wingback, Teko, a Brazilian ball-winning midfielder, or a homegrown central defender, Kamil Sabo. I didn't want to spend much on the transfer market. We've been given Rasman Cabre on the left wingback and Jesus Mendes at striker for free anyway. Maybe I'll get more money later down the line, but only if you subscribe to the channel. Thank you for doing so, and turns out I did, mainly thanks to selling Carlos Cortes to South Africa and Alberto Galindo to Sweden. But let's stop this transfer business for a while. Our squad is predicted to finish the season on the podium, so let's make sure we can go even higher than that. Our debut opponents are last season's champions, Košice, away from home. Košice started this game strong, creating a bunch of chances, but it was Jesus Mendes who came on at half-time, scored in the 58th, to start our campaign with a win. But the start wasn't perfect, with draws to Trenčín and Podbrezova, and with only one against Dukla Bańska Bystrica thanks to a late goal, which was still a decent momentum before coming under the hill of Dubeň to play MŠK Žilina. Soshoni scored a goal late in the first half, but it was offside. But early in the second, they scored from a penalty. However, in the 68th minute, Kamil Sabo found a way to score from a rebound, and Sekou Karamoko gave the lead 4 minutes later. A huge win was looking likely, but Mehmet Kaplan scored an equalizer in the 82nd minute, and in the stoppage time, he completed his brace to win the game for the hosts. In this game, you may have also noticed a couple of new faces, so let's introduce them. First is Boris Uliaki from AS Trenčín, who replaced Bartolo Tatis at centre-back. Michal Dubec from Tatran Prešov will replace Mario Hernandez, and there also is Milan Moravcik from Skalica for depth at centre-back. Those signings were the ones for defense, and it showed on the pitch. We lost another game, this time to Servec, and got 3 more draws against Petržalka and the Derby, Tatran Prešov and Dunajska Streda. And when we won, except a 3-0 thrashing of Komarno, we won only by a single goal against Skalica. This was a difficult start to the season, but at least we were in the position that would give us the championship group. Žilina was in the lead, right ahead of Dukla Bańska Bystrica. However, to keep that slot, we have to keep winning, and Trenčín's late winner wasn't going to help. But things changed later on. We played 2 games in our home ground. First one was against Košice, which we won 3-1. Then we hosted Podbrezova and put 3 goals in the back of their net. A late draw against Dukla Bańska Bystrica and a 1-0 win over Servec put us in great momentum before a second game against MŠK Žilina, this time in our home in Tehelne Pole. The problem is, Michel Ademi started with scoring early on. However, our response was just as quick, from a free kick routine. Karamoko even scored a brace, as long as you don't consider this goal being offside. The actual brace though was scored by Michel Ademi, and for almost the entire second half, there were no highlights. No chance for a comeback, no chance to show a sign we're fighting for the league title. Until the 92nd minute, when Petr Czerny sent a long ball to Karol Duda, who took a shot to the far post and gave us a huge draw. We later on added a 1-0 win over Petržalka and a 7-1 demolition against Komarno. However, the key match will be played in Prešov against Tatran. Let's just say it didn't go too well. We let our opponents enter our box too easily, and Tatran used it twice to their advantage, to get them involved in the title fight as well. A 7-0 win over Dunajska Streda showed our strength, as well as a 3-1 win over Skalica, but it doesn't change a key thing. We entered the championship group in second. There's only 5 games to go in that, but there's also one more competition we're playing in, and that is the Slovak Cup. We're doing quite well there, and by that I mean a comfortable 4-1 win over Petržalka in the second round, but then we nearly got stopped by second tier Shamorin and only got saved by Seku Karamoko scoring in the 94th minute. At least Spišská Nova Ves was an easy 3-0 win, just like Považská Bystrica, who we defeated 2-0. Skalica in the semi-final, braces from Boris Uliaki and Gabriel Kusero led us to the Slovnaft Cup final, in which our opponents were AS Trencin, which is the last game of the season, so we'll get to it once we finish the league. With only 5 games to go, which definitely is not an error in the database update I downloaded, because in Slovakia don't play everyone twice after the split. The leaders are Dukla Bańska Bystrica, a team that in the season preview is meant to go down, and they're also our first opponents in the Champions playoff. We wanted to start this game strong. We had a lengthy stint of possession in the 5th minute, which we finally decided to use. After a quick couple of passes, Seku Karamoko opened up the scoring with a tap-in. He also had another chance just a minute later, but his shot was stopped by the keeper. Unfortunately, the other part of the squad wasn't functioning as well. Michal Dubec made a clumsy punch-out, which basically let Dukla score into an empty net. This error was outweighed by Raul Choquet, who showed for yet another time he can score from distance. We then survived the storm. Dukla came very close twice, thankfully hitting the post in both occasions. We survived, and then we scored. But Jesus Mendes was offside, and to make things worse, we had a penalty, which Seku Karamoko squandered. Dukla was struggling to create chances since then though, and nearing the end of the game, they gave possession away, helping Mendes score and secure our win. This is a huge win for us. This win gives us hope of stealing the first league title since 2030. The next opponents were Trencin, and though we cost ourselves some trouble with Roman Sokol's red card, we got a quite comfortable 2-0 win, thanks to Raul Choquet's penalty and Jesus Mendes scoring a rebound. This win, coupled with Emeška Žilina giving us a helping hand, gave another portion of huge news. We took the lead of the league for the first time this season. However, there is a problem. We're going to play 4 games in 8 days. Insane fixture congestion, which I've only seen before in Finland when I managed IFK Mariehamn. Anyways, it was time to go on a marathon. First, Żelezjarnie Podbrezova. We were mainly saving energy in this game and only launching counters, one of which our Polish player, Krzysztof Szymczyk, used to score and give the lead. We had an advantage and created a couple more opportunities, but turns out Szymczyk's goal was the only one, and we got yet another win. But this victory wasn't the only good news that day. Tatran Prešov striker Darwin van der Wilden scored the brace against Dukla Bańska Bystrica, letting Tatran win 2-0, which means we're going to a penultimate game against Žilina with a chance of clinching the title with 1 game to go. Before that decider, I of course messed up the team meeting. Mehmet Kaplan finds Pecha, who cuts inside and makes a shot, but Brezova even bigger of a favor. They've taken a 2-0 lead now. Simko scores for 1-0, so we don't even have to watch that result right now. Makes a dribble as a Metzala to the right wing, looking for that half space, and Karamoko finds the empty net. And we have won the Slovak League for the first time since 2030. Of course, I would rather do it with Žilina, but they're doing quite well in this save anyway. But Slovan had a difficult journey. They waited for it 15 years, but they're finally lifting the Slovak League title and there's a chance for a double crown as well. After a shaky start to the season, I did not expect us to reach the league title in the first time of asking. I'm saying we did it mainly thanks to quick development of our local youth, the center back Peter Czerny, a left wing back Jakub Kis, William Sinko at right back, or Karol Duda at center mid. They played a massive part in this success. Turns out the title celebration game against Tatran Prešov was my 1000th game in management of this save, in which I gave a chance for the youth and lost 1-0, helping them finish 4th. But there's one more trophy to collect. The Slovak Cup, and only a game against Trencin is separating us from claiming it. Simko on the right wing finds across to Karamoko. For us, Kusero. He finds Mendes. I think the Spaniard was offside. He's not. We scored in the third. On wing finds Kolbas. I think he's going to make across to Benko. Benko was offside and the referee is about to correct it. And it's our highlight. Kabra finds Shimchik. He makes across to Hotul. That was very calm. That was cold, this first touch in the penalty area. A domestic double for Slovan Bratislava. Not only we've won the league, but we're also crowned the Slovan Cup winners. Let's be real. I did not expect us to succeed with Slovan in the very first season, but turns out it happened. So, we completed the 10th league in the Ultimate Glory Hunter Challenge with yet another domestic double. I recommend every one of you watching this video to try out managing in Slovakia. You get a fair share of talented local players, you don't waste your entire budget on 3 of the most talented of the bunch, registration rules are pretty lenient, and there's a bunch of historic brands. Really an underrated league, but for me, it's time to go on a hunt and find a new league to win. However, right now there isn't a single club on the list that I'd be straight up interested in. So when an offer will pop up that I will take, you will find it out in the next episode. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, I will be very grateful for that. And if you want to keep watching videos about Slovak football, I also visited Emeška Žilina's games in real life. That video is on your screen right now.